Here we go. We're on the air, and immediately there are sirens. God! Welcome to another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy. Today we're discussing having a casual and informal conversation about the Star Trek The Next Generation episode, Skin of Evil. And I just came fresh out of watching it, finishing it up. I started it last night, but I finished watching it just now. And I was crying like a baby at the end.
You and Troi.
She was. You're right. She was also crying like a baby. I just wanted to get that out of the way because that's why my eyes are still a little watery. In fact, I'm so distraught from the episode that I had to pour myself a beer. So cheers to Tasha.
I have nothing in my TARDIS glass, but I'll
cheers to that.
Natasha Yar.
Or as Picard says, au revoir, Natasha.
Au revoir. Au revoir.
So I'd like it if you gave the episode summary for this, since I'm still a little emotionally distraught, Doctor. Would you mind providing us with the summary for this episode?
The Enterprise arrives on the scene as Troi in a shuttlecraft crash lands on a planet. And when the away team beam down, they find a mysterious ooze that identifies itself as evil. And
or a skin of evil.
The skin of evil. And what follows is a game of wits between the crew of the Enterprise and a being who seems to lack any compassion or any feelings of what is good or what is bad. Along the way, tragically, one of the crew of the Enterprise, for the first time, a major cast member of an Enterprise crew bites the dust. Denise Crosby, a.k.a. Natasha Yar, dies in service to the Enterprise. And that's the most notable part of the episode. But Troi does survive. And... actually, you know what? I don't recall. What do they do?
Well, the rest of the Troi.
Picard figures something out at the end. He outwits the Skin of Evil somehow. They get her aboard. Oh, Worf figures out that he studies the patterns of
the energy
patterns of the energy of the Skin of Evil. His name actually has a name. His name is what is his name? Armus? Armus. So he figures out when Armus is at his lowest point in terms of energy, and that's when they beam her out, Troi and the rest of there's actually somebody else aboard the shuttlecraft. And Picard leaves Armus on the planetoid, alone. Like Khan left Kirk alone.
Marooned. For all eternity.
Of a dead planet.
Yeah, not a bad summary, I have to say. Pretty good job there.
I love this episode.
Me too. I actually watching it again, I feel like I did have a few critical notes on it this time but I remember the first I'm also not wearing my badge. Very bad. Yeah, I was rogue there, guys. Hold on. Starfleet Boy is back and
well, you just came back from the funeral, right?
There we go. Yeah, that's what it was. That's why I'm dressed in black today.
That's what we're all in black. That's right.
I think watching it again and becoming aware that Denise Crosby wanted to leave the show and some of the behind the scenes things about it, I did go into it with a little bit more of a critical eye this time, but I still love the episode, and it is still one of my favorites. I really like the character of Armus. I think it's an interesting concept. His origin is that I guess it would be the Vagrants. Vagra 2 is the planet that they're on. Developed a method by which they were able to shed all the things that are, uh, undesirable about themselves, whether it's, negative emotions or, evil feelings or, anything that's kind of considered, undesirable. They were able to remove this from themselves. And he remarks that they are now known as some of the most beautiful beings in the galaxy, and what they left behind slowly turned into a life of its own, or Armus, became a consciousness arose from all this like kind of negativity and evil. And so now he claims to be the skin of evil. And speaking of speaking of evil, we have our Cardassian counter. No, I'm just kidding.
What a great introduction.
Just kidding. We don't think the Cardassians are evil. Hi, Goldie Scott.
Hi, guys. All I can do is shake my head.
Uh-oh. Oh, there's going to be controversy tonight. I can feel it.
Can we just start with the funeral scene? I mean,
well,
when did Tasha make that recording? How did she know exactly who was going to be at her funeral? Why weren't there more people at her funeral? Is her body buried in the holodeck too? I mean, so many questions just from that one terrible scene alone.
That scene, I was just remarking that I cried like a baby at the end of
Oh my God, for real?
Yeah, I did.
That
I totally.
ridiculous.
I do agree, though. So I was just also telling the doctor that I had a few critical thoughts, and those things came to mind. I was wondering, like, a thought did occur to me. Is like, once a week, does the computer prompt you to record your thoughts on your crew in case you die in the line of, is it like something like, oh, it's Friday night, you're ready to go to bed, and the computer says, please record your death message before bed. Thank you. Or your death message is 365 days out of date. Since then, you've met 5 new people. I don't know, what is it like?
I would like to point out that Kirk had a similar message for Spock and McCoy in the original series. So apparently this is standard Starfleet procedure. You do have to record, if you are of a certain rank, you do have to record death messages and commands, for the crew in case of death. So yes, that is something that you have to do, apparently.
Wow, good to know. And I wonder, I ask our audience out there that this is maybe a touchy subject. I hope not, and I'm sorry if it is. But our audience, if you are in the military, are you asked to record kind of a message to give to your fellow troops or to your loved ones in case of death on duty? I'm sure we can look this up on the internet. We'll probably look it up later. But if you have any insights to this, we'd love to hear from you.
Well, I want to say I'm always the first to say that Troi is utterly useless, and so I feel that I am honor bound to point out that Troi actually is not useless in this episode. I thought this was a good Troi episode.
Wow.
Yes, I thought the way she was psychoanalyzing the what's his name? Armus. The Black Ooze. I thought the scenes when she was, I mean, obviously, she's not telepathic, she's empathic. So she is feeling out what his emotions are, and she's extrapolating, okay, why does he feel this way? So she's using her head. I thought it was a very good showcase for Troi. By the same token, Tasha has nothing to do in this episode other than to die.
Well, she has
12 minutes in. I paused to look at the time, how long into the episode she was dead, and it was 12 minutes.
12 minutes.
Yeah.
It's interesting because Denise Crosby it's not the last time she appears on Star Trek, and she actually comes back to Star Trek: The Next Generation in a really awesome, I think, an awesome kind of way. So it is nice that she was able to maintain a relationship with this cast. I think it just wasn't working for her in terms of Tasha, and so she just wanted to leave the part, and this was kind of like, what's that?
He had nothing to do on the show.
Right, Worf now will take over as security, and Geordi will go into engineering in season 2, as we know. But I did think the little scene in the beginning between Tasha and Worf was cool. I liked a lot of I did like Tasha's character overall. Like, I thought that, like, it's a shame Denise Crosby wasn't vibing with the character, and that the writers maybe weren't finding stuff for her to do, because I think she was an interesting character. Perhaps her role could have evolved. But again, Tasha's always kind of present throughout Star Trek: The Next Generation. As you pointed out earlier, Doctor, this is the first time in Star Trek history that we have truly lost a crew member in the course of battle. Spock, we know we lose him, but we get him back, in Star Trek 2. So it's kind of tantamount, rather, I should say, to that feeling. It's like, oh, did we actually lose this crew member? And in this case, it was absolutely true. What's the spot? This is something I've wondered since I was a kid. What is the spot on the side of her face?
Oh, it's the Gorbachev disease. the skin Armus gave her Gorbachev disease, like stage 5.
I think Gorbachev suffers from something called vitiligo, Scott, and
right, yeah, but it's a low level. He gave her like the worst case you can get. Yeah.
No, but seriously, is there any? I've looked online, done kind of like a search, and I was trying to, like, maybe there was something cut out, like maybe that spot was, I don't know, and it doesn't look like a wound or it looks like face paint, like she went to a party and got face paint. Like a splatter. It's a splatter of something. It's not even black, it's red. So it was very confusing, and I would have thought with the remastering you could digitally remove it, but I guess not.
Well, actually, Riker was supposed to have had those exact same wounds on his face, but they wisely avoided that.
That was one of the coolest scenes, I thought, was when Riker gets sucked into and absorb, or what is it? Data says he says it's Commander Riker's been enveloped by Armus, and then Armus just like sticks his face out, and it's like.
Did you want Riker to be dead also?
No, but I do remember when I saw this episode, it created a lot of anxiety when I saw it the first time, because I actually thought, like, now I'm a very accomplished TV watcher. I've seen Game of Thrones, so I'm not attached to any character. Game of Thrones just kills people left and right, as we all know. But at the time,
thought that Riker was
in danger when I first saw this. Yeah, I thought, like, oh, what is this?
You don't remember the really cheesy, tacky voiceover that they would do over on next week's episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation?
In a land,
crew member dies. It clearly showed Tasha being shot. So,
is that what it said? So you knew in advance that Tasha was going to die before the episode came out?
Absolutely.
I don't remember that, knowing in advance.
You saw a slender female form wearing a yellow Starfleet uniform flying into those plastic rocks.
Talk about rating.
And I recognized Tasha's ass right away. I knew Tasha. She's gonna die. Oh my God! So I knew going into it that that was Tasha.
Talk about ratings bait. Next time on Star Trek: The Next Generation, someone dies.
I have memories of word on the street coming out before the episode.
Right? There was word on the street, definitely.
Okay, so there were. I seem to remember that. Like, people knew to tune in for that episode. You knew something was going down.
I
It
don't
was
know. I don't
a
remember
very
any of
special
that.
episode.
I only remember the emotions I felt when I saw this episode, and I had to relive some of those emotions tonight. That's all I can remember.
Oh god.
Um,
This episode made me angry.
Why did it make you angry?
It was just bad, and the
You didn't
fact that
like it? Oh my god.
no, and the fact, I mean, she dies 12 minutes in, and then there's like 30 minutes of just talk, 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 goo monster talk, and I don't even know like what happens at the end. They outsmart him by Picard just insults him a few times, and he gets really angry
Right.
and loses his concentration.
Right.
And so, I don't know. It was just a boring episode. It angered me that in Tasha's final episode, they can't even keep her in it for more than 12 minutes and maybe kill her at the end or something instead, doing something heroic like maybe to save Troi or save the day. And the whole thing was just, it made me mad enough that I want to just quit Star Trek now.
oh
All
no.
Star Trek. You know what? I'm quitting as of this second. I'm done with all Star Trek. Goodbye, everyone, forever.
That's it. It's over.
Talk about dramatic.
Wow.
Goldie Scott has left the building.
Well,
Yeah, I'm
that was
just kidding.
very-
I'm just kidding. I'm back.
That was very dramatic.
Yeah.
that was very
Scott.
convincing. I was,
Yeah, thank you.
wow. I didn't know it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I thought there was an actual moment of danger there that we lost you, and I was like, wow, this is gonna make for interesting YouTube vision.
Mhm.
Is it YouTube vision, television? I thought that I guess the only thing I can say in defense of Armus is that what do you do when you're faced with an adversary or being that does not want to reason or is so powerful that it can just end your life with a flick of its
I don't know, but it didn't seem like
gooey
they tried to
appendage.
do very much. I didn't see them shooting anything from it from outer space or
They-
trying
well,
to vaporize
they-
it or.
Well,
They couldn't because of the
shuttlecraft.
shuttlecraft was in proximity. They tried to phaser it, and it seemed to absorb the phaser energy, and it doesn't really, as you know, they've spent a lot of time.
It wasn't always on the shuttlecraft though. When it was in the goo, when it became a goo puddle, when they were talking to it, the Enterprise could have zapped it with stuff then.
No, if you launch
it's
it, you have to
close.
understand the beam of the phaser beam hitting and that would just annihilate everything around it.
I don't know that that's the case.
I think that is the case.
The
know.
phasers of the Enterprise are not that precise. Otherwise,
No, they're precise. They're just not tiny. It's just a lot of energy being
right.
directed
Well, right.
Why
That's what
couldn't
you-
they transport? Why couldn't they teleport it along with the shuttlecraft into outer space?
They couldn't get a lock on any of it because Armus was creating a shield around the shuttlecraft. They could. So that was the whole thing. Is that the science?
How come when they went down there the first time, the crew that went down there, they had a lock on them, right? They were able to teleport them in and out. So they couldn't be okay, from the spot you just teleported me in, the shuttlecraft is 10 meters northwest.
What's his name? Eritrea?
I don't know. Or couldn't they throw some sort of device at it that while they were on the ground, couldn't they throw some sort of tracking device in its vicinity to alert the...
He was doing something.
I mean, everything.
Somehow.
The thing about Armus is that he's so. His power and abilities are unknown, so yeah, they could have tried all those things, and let's just imagine that they did try all those things and it all failed because he just kept deflecting it in some way. So they
But
were
I don't want
left.
to have to imagine it. I want it to be in the show.
Well, the point I
was
think is
convinced that they tried everything.
I think they tried
Remember,
everything.
this is the Enterprise D. Their sensors are not that great. I mean, how many times have they missed things that were completely obvious? Thanks to their shitty sensors, and I think they gave it their best until Picard went down and spoke to it sternly. And
Yeah, we've
distracted him.
established that the Enterprise computer is unreliable.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you expect? Yeah, it's not the Enterprise E. Okay, this is the D.
Yeah.
It's not even the A. You know, this is the
The
D.
Enterprise D is an awesome ship. Although there was that weird
D
thing
as
in
in
the
dumb.
Oh man, there was that weird thing in the beginning where they were realigning the crystals or something, and they didn't have warp power right away. Remember? And then the engineers arguing about, I said a little bit of warp, and he's like, make it happen, warp 8.
Who was the engineer in this episode?
Unknown. I've never
Was
seen him before. He was like brand new.
was he an engineer or was he an assistant
He
engineer?
might have been an assistant engineer.
I don't even think he was a full engineer. I think he was just like a half engineer.
A half-engineer.
Yes. I love the episode. I think.
Wow, I'm surprised.
I do. I love the ooze guy. I think he looks cool. I don't. It reminds me of the creature from that episode that made Abraham Lincoln come back to life, and Surak, the rock creature. It reminds me of, I like these these aliens that don't look like a guy in a suit. I mean, this is
Right.
like, I mean, obviously, yeah, it is a guy, underneath that oil slick, but it doesn't look, it looks cool, and it kind of reminds me of who's that guy that Mickey Mouse fights a lot, and he's all dressed in black sometimes. Do you know that one? I forget what his name is.
Armus.
Maybe.
He was
But
a character
I like the
from
look.
Rejected character.
Making mouse bites.
I like I like the look of Armus, who, by the way, is voiced by the guy who used to do the voice of Eeyore on the Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, nice Disney
Wow.
connection.
Yeah. So if you want to think of it, this is Eeyore's close cousin.
All they had to do was pin a tail on Armus, and
And it would have been
it
Eeyore.
would have been Eeyore, and it would have been just
Eeyore's gooier cousin.
And they have similar issues. I mean, this guy was seriously depressed.
right,
As
but
Eeyore always is.
yeah, except Eeyore wouldn't kill your friends.
That's what you think, but I think Rabbit knows better. Oh yeah, he knows
Oh, my
what the
goodness.
real Eeyore is like. But no, I enjoyed this episode, and also the death of Tasha. I actually thought it was kind of refreshing that it wasn't this drawn out heroic. I'll do it. Don't worry, it'll be me. And then cue dramatic music, and they start playing. What's that song from Highlander? Dust in the Wind and by Kansas.
Who wants to live forever?
Right.
Yes, to live forever. I think that's like the second time that song's made it on a Star Trek, Starfleet Boy, Goldie Scott
Really?
related show. Yeah, we had that on Drunk Space Nine.
Oh, no, we had the other one, Princes of the Universe.
That's right.
Yeah.
But
There you go.
I thought I liked the idea that it was a quick death. It was a fast death. That's the way it would be in real life.
Fans.
That's the way all the red shirts go. All the red shirts go like that.
Like that. That's
She
just
should have gone, but she's Tasha. She's not a red shirt.
You know
fans were
what?
split on.
Tasha goddamn Yar, all right?
At the end of the day, they're all red shirts, man. They're all red shirts at the end of the day. Let's
No
face it.
way.
Yeah.
That's dark. Hey, so although
right.
so fans are split on this because and this plays into an excellent kind of idea, which is how much fan service should you give as a writer? Because I agree with the Doctor. I thought it was great that they chose to just kind of like in a snap moment, which is kind of realistic because that is probably the most common way people die is like unexpectedly in a snap moment, like in a weird, unexpected type of way.
Goo Monster psychically zaps you. Very realistic.
Well,
Happens
but
every day.
replace Goo Monster with, bus hitting you or slipping down the
Donald Trump.
stairs
Yeah.
or Donald Trump as it's like
What?
or
This
a
is
golf
becoming such a
club
political show.
or a
lately.
piece of hail or like, a meteorite raining down on you. There's all kinds of ways people die, but
Yeah.
it's not always heroic. And so, I think that was a great thing. And then in the farewell video that Tasha makes every week, she points out that she hopes and probably died in the course of her regular duty, day-to-day duty. She wasn't surprised. She wouldn't be surprised if that were the case. And I like that part where she tells Worf, I hope I died with my eyes wide open. Which, unfortunately, I don't think she did. I think her eyes were closed when she died. But that's okay, because...
Donald Trump is very popular on Cardassia, and, you may not want to alienate such a large portion of your audience with the continued attacks. Just saying.
Okay.
At Starfleet Boy, we want to remind everyone that the opinions that we express are our own personal experience and not those of the United Federation of Planets or Starfleet or Cardassia.
Or the sponsors of the show, yeah.
I would like to say that, while I am in strong agreement that, there's something to be said about, who you choose to vote for president is a very personal decision, and there's no hopefully the way our country works, there's no wrong or right answer. There's just a better one and a less better one, we hope. But this is the first time that I've ever, as an American, as a citizen of the United States, ever have felt that there is, in fact, a wrong choice and a right choice. And unfortunately, Golduscott,
controversial.
I think that Donald Trump is in fact the wrong choice. And again, I've said it before. I don't, maybe he's a great person. Is he fit to represent an entire nation as the leader of this nation? In my opinion, no. I think not. Nothing against Donald Trump as a person. I think. I'm sure that since he has family members and loved ones, people that love him, that there are redeeming qualities to him. But that outside of that, as the leader of the United States,
I didn't mean to sully the Tasha Yar memorial episode with all this talk of politics. You took my
we're
joke
avoiding the episode, man.
I just made a joke and he really ran with it.
Hey, Starfleet Boy has an opinion.
Let's swing it back. Let's swing it back to the episode, gentlemen.
Yeah, let's go back to the episode here.
Starfleet Boy is he's having a little beer in memoriam of Tasha.
I am indeed.
Did you pour some on the ground for her?
No, that would ruin the floor in my apartment, but I did pour some out in the sink for my homie.
Tasha.
Natasha.
Do you think? Golduscott, do you think Tasha should have had a more heroic death? Then are you in that camp?
Of course, that's what I said. Have you been listening? Have you been here for the last 20 minutes?
And then the doctor and I think she died just perfectly the way she died was just
not at all.
If
you said, she died the way a red shirt dies. And that's just disrespectful to do to your security officer.
I don't think, but people don't. Again, one does not have a choice in their death. But I don't think that red shirts die unheroically either. I don't think anyone's death. Tasha certainly, as you could see, influenced these people, and in fact, she remains, very much in their minds throughout the series. So I think that you're wrong.
I have to admit, rewatching the episode, and the experience of rewatching the season, basically, week after, well, in some cases, marathoning them 2 or 3 at a time. Tasha actually doesn't leave that much of an impression. I mean, she didn't really do much in the series up until now, and I think her character is probably most notable up until now simply for dying. She doesn't really... I mean, I understand why the actress left. She really didn't have much to do. I mean, there were plenty of episodes where it seems like she should be doing something, but instead, Worf is doing it, or Data, or even Troi in one episode. So I understand why the actress left, and when I made the red shirt comment, it's because in a way she is kind of like a red shirt. She's somebody that would appear every once in a while, but she didn't really make much of an impact. I think her impact came later, when in yesterday's Enterprise, and then when her daughter shows up, and obviously this death episode. But she to me is kind of like a red shirt. I mean, I like the character. There was great potential, but kind of like excuse me. I don't know. It just, she.
Well, we'll never know, unfortunately, or fortunately for folks who didn't like her character at all. But we'll never
Who
know.
didn't like her? Who could not like her character?
I think I remember several discussions back in the day after episodes where some people were just like, "Oh my gosh, I just don't like this
Really?
character." Yeah, I vaguely remember that there
Not
was
me.
controversy.
Who
No, I liked.
were you conversing with at the time? Other
This
9-year-olds?
Yeah, like our
Okay.
age group when we were sitting
Well, I don't really care what 9-year-olds think. They go screw themselves.
there.
I met Denise Crosby. Did I ever?
Oh, what was that like? I heard she was
Whoa.
charming.
You
guys going on a date?
No. I met her at a convention. Excuse me. And I have to admit, I felt very apprehensive. I was nervous because it was Tasha, and it was at one of the Supercons when they used to be right near my house. Supercon is happening right now on the beach.
Oh well, it was pre-recorded, so it happened weeks ago.
Oh, it happened weeks ago. That's right. Correct.
Timey-wimey, wibbly wobbly.
Yes.
That's right. But,
Trump has already been elected by the time.
Oh no.
But she was very, very nice, and she looked good.
I bet.
Yeah.
Isn't she on?
She always looked good.
She's on
Yeah.
television now, right? She's on this Grateful Dead show, The Grateful Dead. Well, what? The Walking Dead, right?
Grateful Dead show.
What is-
I don't know.
I don't know.
When
Is
do you
she?
have time to watch things other than Star Trek?
How about them? How about them apples? I guess that's the only thing about this episode. You're right. That's remarkable is that it is known for the episode where Tasha died. But I do. I think that like the impact of it lasts throughout the whole series, and I thought that was interesting. And it's kind of maybe a little bit of an argument against Galdu Scott, who says that Star Trek: The Next Generation doesn't really have like a lot of storylines that transcend individual episodes. But I think there are some ways that it does accomplish it. Again, not as well as Deep Space Nine does, but I do think The Next Generation does accomplish it.
Well, Data certainly always. Data lost his virginity, I guess, to Tasha, right?
I don't know that that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know that
Do you
Data
think
lost
Dr.
his.
Soong might have done some tests with him?
Well, no, but he tells
There
Tasha.
wasn't enough time before the crystalline entity.
Oh, you're right.
He tells.
Maybe Data and the crystalline entity.
No. So Data, Data remember Data went to Starfleet Academy and everything else. It may not be his first time. He simply tells Tasha that he's fully
come on.
functional.
It's his first time.
Was that the implication? I don't remember.
That's the implication. Yes, I think so. I think look at his expression during the funeral. It's like, oh my God, I slept with her and now she's dead. How do I feel about this? And they never, they obviously never did it again. And remember when the sister comes aboard the Enterprise and he feels very like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember that episode.
Like-
His sister is super hot, too.
right. So he's like, I slept with your sister. I feel
Yeah.
obligation to you to maybe.
Would you like
do?
me to show you what her and I did?
Right, exactly. So
It was a classic move. I was very proud of Data when he pulled that move.
Is that? I don't remember that
not
any of
often
that.
you get to pull that move.
I don't
Yeah.
remember any of that. But I guess what season is that? Like 4 or 5?
Might be season 2. Season 2 or 3.
No, I think it is like season 3 or 4. But the death of Tasha resonated definitely beyond beyond this episode, and I think the series did a good job with that. But again, I think a lot of it is a lot of when she's in that funeral speech where she's addressing everybody, it just seems like a lot of that is kind of implied, I guess, because we don't really see much of their interactions, in the series, because she just doesn't do much. I mean, I do believe it when she says, "Oh, Riker, you always made me laugh." That's true. We do actually see evidence of that on the show. Her relationship with Geordi, I mean, there is a thing there. I think we do see several scenes in the course of the first season where Geordi and Tasha have a special connection. But beyond Riker, Geordi, obviously Data, and
what she says about Picard seems fairly
and
reasonable.
Picard,
Yeah.
and Picard, because remember, she remember, if he weren't captain, remember the comment she made?
I thought it was more like a daughter-father thing, because she says
You need to rewatch that episode, my friend.
No, here in this episode though, she says
what?
in her little farewell.
Oh well, yeah, but
Tasha was attracted to Picard.
I think there was a little.
Yeah.
Well, she says something to him along the lines of, "You
Yeah,
have the heart of an explorer and the soul of a poet." And so I kind of like that little moment, because she says that she quotes some poet who I'm not sure who, but she says that death is merely the transition from being physically there to being available in memories from that point on. And so no goodbyes, just good memories. I like that. I always thought that was a neat thing, and I kind of I try to adopt a similar philosophy for death and life with many people that we've all lost people, and so they do live on in our memories and in our hearts. I think it's very important.
That's true. But I think the episode, I enjoy the episode. I like the tension of when they're trying to revive her in sickbay.
That was a cool scene, minus this distracting.
The Gorbachev. Yeah.
The Gorbachev. And then very quickly when they're in the ready room, Picard is like, "Okay, we can grieve later, but right now, we've got to keep our eye on the ball. What do we do about this thing?" And the way Worf, says no to going down to the planet. He says, "No, I'm best suited here." Like, you see the process.
Worf was afraid.
No,
Yeah.
he was not
I
afraid.
think a Klingon could be spooked by something with such little honor, like
Like a Romulan.
or Armus, who has absolutely no.
I think it reminded him of an ancient mythological Klingon demon.
Right.
Yeah.
And I like Armus.
Reminded me of the demon one cannot escape. I don't know what that voice was.
I like Armus. I like the idea of this totally. I mean, he's pathetic in a way.
Can something like Armus is Armus realistic? I mean, like, can something like that ever happen? Can a species like shed all their negativity into a goo of a living goo of evil?
I don't know. What am I, a biologist now? How am I the guy to ask that question to?
Well, remember the old Star Trek episode where you got...
Oh, yeah, you're a doctor. The doctor can take it.
There we go. Thank you. Remember that Kirk gets split into two people, and all his emotions are holding the puppy with the horn, and then, I don't know what... Then the other one is like...
It's like a great way to convey that the darkness in us helps us to be courageous, because when all that was removed from Kirk, he ended up being completely uncourageous and scared, and although he was nice, he wasn't.
He was very much like Worf.
It's beat up Worf night tonight.
Oh, poor Worf.
Was it weird that Armus knew a Wizard of Oz reference when he called Data Tin Man?
That was a little strange.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Could
Mhm.
Armus, in fact, be the Wicked Witch of the West? She was. Could he be? Could he be a remnant from Oz? I thought there was a fantasy quality to this episode. Armus is more fantasy, I think, than science fiction for me, so it's possible.
Well, I
She
mean, if
melted. When she melted, she's like, I'm melting, I'm melting. She actually got transferred to this other dimension, and then now she's this puddle of. So yeah, I totally see how the Wizard of Oz thing could be plausible there, Galder Scott. That's headcanon.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, also you said you were talking about Kirk getting split in two. Riker gets split in two,
that's
Right?
right, he does. He does.
but he doesn't go good and bad.
Well, but is he cloned or is he split in two?
No, he's split in two.
He split in two?
Yeah.
That's Thomas Riker, right?
Yep.
Who will be showing up on Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. See, that's a good crossover episode.
Mhm.
There we go. Yeah.
Excellent episode.
Yes. I like this episode, man. I like the ooze. I like
Well,
Riker getting sucked in there and then being thrown
tossed
out.
back out. Yeah.
Again, Troi, on very rare occasion in season 1, is actually useful and trying to kind of like psychologically probe what are the weaknesses of this bizarre ooze and then the ending. What I thought was interesting is the final shot. You've got it's on Picard. Picard says, what does he say in French? Au revoir,
Of Natasha. Well, there's a little scene after that actually, where Data wonders if
that's
he's
right.
missing the
That's right.
point of the funeral. But yeah, it basically ends. The shot that it ends with is the little holographic hill with her digital headstone.
So
Right,
is she
but-
buried there in the
No,
holodeck?
she's definitely
She's
not.
on a torpedo, man. They
They
torpedoed her.
torpedoed her
Into the sun?
onto the
Genesis
Genesis planet.
Yeah.
Is the Genesis planet still there?
No, remember.
No, Star
No,
Trek
we were
3.
we're being silly. I did like the music in this episode. I thought was very good. Sort of that dramatic, percussive cue that plays when Riker is sucked into Armus was really good. And I think Ron Jones or Rob Jones, I forget, did this episode as well. And then I also liked in the beginning of the episode when we hear over the hailing frequencies the shuttlecraft is going down. The shot that right before the credits roll, the shot they cut to is this new kind of wide angle of overhead shot of the bridge, and you see kind of Picard framed in the center, and you see you see how huge the bridge of the Enterprise D is. So I thought a lot of that worked really well about this
Yeah,
episode.
that's true. I remember that.
Yeah, I'm surprised Galdu Scott didn't bring up though where it did lack is it was the same planet, barren wasteland planet.
Of course, yeah. As every episode this season.
And I think that that would have been something neat to do in remastering, but maybe it was too expensive. But that would have been neat to go back and give these planet surfaces some extra character and maybe change the sky so that it has animated clouds for a change, or even stars or something different, than what was there. It reminds me of have you guys ever been to a planetarium? Just before the show, they have that dusk lighting, just before sunset, just after sunset lighting. And that's kind of
planetarium right now.
You kind of want to go, right?
Yeah.
Support your local science museums and help planetariums be a thing that keep on being. But let's give it our rating.
Museums.
Yeah.
I'm going to Washington, D.C. in a few days.
Oh, really?
and I'm going to see the original USS Enterprise in the Air and Space Museum.
Wow.
It's been restored recently, right?
It's been
Yeah, it's
recently
really
restored
exciting.
and put in a new enclosure,
Wow.
and I'm going to go see if I can break through the enclosure and somehow damage the newly restored model. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm obligated to report you
Yes.
to the Smithsonian authorities now.
I'm going to spray paint Kirk sucks, Picard rules with a Z on the bottom of the
Oh my gosh.
thing there.
No.
Sacrilege.
Terrible. Well, also, did you guys know that here in Seattle, the new Starfleet headquarters, after Khan destroyed San Francisco in Into Darkness,
Kelvin universe.
in the Kelvin.
Yeah, that doesn't
Oh, that's
count.
right. We got to talk about the Kelvin universe in a second.
Do
Anyways,
we really have to?
why not? I think it's a great new little thing.
I'm not talking about Rihanna. I just want to make it
No. This will
not
be.
talking about
This
Rihanna.
will be. We have to do a special Starfleet Boy that's current and live. If we're going to talk about.
Yeah, do that after I quit Star Trek forever.
Oh no. So okay. So here in Seattle at the Experience Music Project, or the EMP, they're celebrating the 50th anniversary with a Star Trek exhibit, which I'm gonna
Are you
attend.
serious?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to that and check it out. Looks exciting.
Wow.
Yeah. So look it up on the
something
EMP.
Star Trekky for the 50th.
Except Miami, which was voted the worst city to live in the United States, and also the rudest city in the United States. And I
That's
feel
true.
terrible about that because I grew up in Miami and I love Miami, but I'm also not surprised.
I'm not
Whatever.
surprised.
That's like so some jackass made some stupid list, like based on what, you know? Big
Shall-
deal. I could make a list too. I could make a list too of the dumbest kinds of lists that people make.
So I think this was like a Forbes or a business
Whatever.
journal list.
Tell
and
them where to stick their business.
So I think that this is true because I hear this complaint from a lot of my friends, but apparently the affordability outweighs the earnability in Miami. So people are earning way lower than the rest of in comparable cities, and having to pay rents that are way higher than the cost of living.
Wow.
I don't want to talk about rents. We're here to talk about Skin of Evil, man.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Get out my violin for the people that can't pay their rent.
Can we give our Skin of Evil a rating, guys?
Mm-hmm.
All right, on a 5-point scale, I give it 3.5 stars.
I concur. I give this a 3.5.
Oh. I'm giving this a 0.
Oh my gosh.
What? Wait a
Yep.
minute now. What else have you given a 0 to?
Nothing.
No, I thought you gave. We
I
don't have a
think I've given
database.
a 0 to
boy.
anything.
We don't
Wait
have a
minute.
database.
Hold on. Let's review. We've had what is it, that episode that you guys hate?
Oh,
Let me see if I can.
The
Yep,
low
so-
low pan or low tan or
Lutan, the
I don't
bed
even
of
think I
honor.
gave that a 0.
No,
I
you
think
gave
I
like
gave
a
that
1.
like a 1 or something, or a
Something like that,
0.5 or.
a 0?
Woof, Lonely Among Us was pretty bad.
You might have given that a 0. I don't know. I'd have to go back and listen to all the ratings.
0.
Well, then if I gave that a 0, then this is getting a -1.
Wow, so this is the
Oh,
worst
This
episode.
is the worst. I mean,
Just
you
why?
killed Tasha.
Explain why.
Tasha was the best. I'm a huge Tasha fan. You did it in a way in which she didn't get to be the hero. She didn't even appear in the episode for more than 12 minutes. And in that 12 minutes, she didn't do much. She had one kind of conversation with Worf, and that was it. And on top of that, the episode itself was boring to me. 0. 0.0.
Well, you have your reasons, but hey,
Mhm.
it happens.
Mm-hmm. And now I quit Star Trek forever.
No,
Yes.
no.
Yes.
Let me tell you, if you don't give that crappy episode on Deep Space Nine with Troy's mother and Odo stuck in a turbo lift.
Hey, there's
Entire
some touching
episode.
moments in that
Zero
episode.
as well. I don't know.
There's some touching moments and genuine good acting.
You cannot defend that episode to me.
So
That's one of the worst episodes of any Star
Well,
Trek.
you need to come on Drunk Space Nine,
I
and
will.
we can have a little
I'm
argument
loaded
about
for
it.
bear. Let me tell you, I'm ready.
All right.
wowzers.
Skin of Evil
Okay.
is 10 times the episode of that piece of shit episode, The Forsaken. We
As-
are the Forsaken for having to watch the episode.
So
You know.
okay, we have some spillover
Yeah.
discussion here. Well, I'm
Yeah,
excited
you should
now.
save some of your material. Don't use it all now.
I can't wait. I can't wait now until we do that Drunk Space 9 episode. So that gives me a chance here to remind everyone that this team right here, the three of us, not only do Starfleet Boy, but Galdi Scott is the leader of a show called Drunk Space Nine, which does a similar kind of thing for Deep Space Nine, except there's a caveat, and that's why I've started drinking already, which is we're drunk when minus the doctor, who's our designated runabout driver, but we're usually drunk when we talk about Drunk Space. Deep Space.
And has better special effects.
Yeah.
Indeed. We are the holy trinity of Star Trek. We're the Kirk, Spock, and McCoy of our own little nerdverse.
I'll accept that.
Can we just
Who are
be?
you? So clearly, Sohail is Kirk.
Or Dr. McCoy? I don't mind
Well, you're the Doctor. You're McCoy. I guess that makes me Spock by default.
I guess so. With a dirty mouth.
Yeah. Can I be Kirk and you be Spock? No, you're the Captain, I guess.
On this show, but on the other show you're.
Damn it.
On the other show you're the Cisco. I'm not trying to be. I think, guys. I'm not trying to be Kirk, Spock, or McCoy.
I don't want to be that pointy-eared
Yeah,
bastard.
I think we're just trying to be. We're trying to be Starfleet Boy, Galdi Scott, and the Doctor. I think it's good enough. And on that note, if you want to write to us or be on Starfleet Boy, you could write to us on all the things. We have an Instagram account, Starfleet Boy, at Starfleet Boy. We have a Twitter account, at Starfleet Boy. We have a Facebook page, and we have a Tumblr.
Yes, we do have a Tumblr.
And of course, this is the YouTube. So
Tinder?
I'm not. What?
Is there Starfleet Boy Tinder?
You're trying to get us on the Tinder.
Snapchat?
No, that's not a thing we do?
Oh, you know what Starfleet Boy is on Snapchat? I forgot about
Okay, Snapchat.
so yeah, you can find if
What about Match.com? Is Starfleet Boy on Match.com or JD?
Reddit? What about MySpace? Are we on MySpace?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
All right.
I think we're on the CompuServe BBSs.
We're also on the LCARS network, the Subspace Relay. Anyways, on that note, live long and prosper, everyone. Thank you for another
305 forever.
great episode.
Goodbye,
305.
Natasha. We loved you.
Bye, Tasha. Cheers to you.
Live long and prosper, Tasha.